Hello and welcome to episode 62 of Talking Shit About, a monthly podcast where I, Elizabeth Whipperman, interview someone about something they love, something they hate, something they've been through, or something they just know a lot about. And hopefully by the end, we've all learned something. Real quick before we dive in, I just wanted to let you know there's a new harm reduction themed item in my merch, and by item I mean design, and tons of different products, probably more than any other design. So go check that out. And so this episode is talking about dreams. I personally love talking about dreams. I think they tell us a lot about what's going on in our subconscious, even if they don't make a lot of sense. I love to dissect them. I recognize that other people don't like talking about dreams, which maybe they just don't dream. Maybe they don't like their dreams. Maybe, I don't know why people don't like talking about them, but I love it. So if you don't, probably not the episode for you, but give it a shot. Mike's great guest. He has a lot to say. I think that's a long enough intro. Let's go ahead and talk some shit.
I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I have friends that are firefighters and I know that they use soap.
And she was screaming at me over soup.
Fuck this, I am not ever talking to a Scientologist again. These people are all insane.
I'm putting my bricks in the dumpsters, motherfuckers. Do you see me, bitches? I'm throwing my bricks. And he's just like chucking bricks.
Oh. Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Mike Rembis, and he is the author of the Rembis Report. Mike, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I am doing great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm excited to get into this. It's kind of like not really something we've covered before, so I'm excited to kind of dive into this and just have an open conversation. Before we dive in, I'd like to give you the space to tell our listeners anything you would like them to know about you.
Okay. I am a self-made man. I've had over 100 jobs, and I have not let my jobs define me. So I've never really had any kind of career that I went for. I spent years as a salesperson, and I'm not really a salesperson. That was just a job, I spent years as an administrator, but I'm not that either. But I'm definitely a writer because I do write a lot. I've been paid to write. So it's, even though it's a hobby, I got paid once. And I got paid to write 2 screenplays, and they were never made into movies. But one of them was actually on IMDb with me as the writer when it was in development. And then the whole thing fell apart. And well, that's what happens. Mira Sorvino was going to be the star of the project. Oh, wow. It was so close. But anyway, so that went away real fast, but I got paid, so that was okay. So I'm not sure if that counts for anything. I call myself a creative. I do take lots of pictures, and I don't do anything with them. I have a Flickr site for some of my favorites. And I wrote lots of screenplays and essays. I created a film festival, and I ran that for 2 years, the Clearwater Film Festival. The second year, I introduced a music element, and I called it the Clearwater Film and Music Festival. And I couldn't get any local support, really, but I put on a great show. It was a lot of fun. I owned an art gallery once, and I hitchhiked over 30,000 miles in the 1980s. I went across country, north and south several times, and east and west several times, just for the fun of it. And I've acted in lots of short films as an extra in a couple features and on stage. I did local theater productions, and that's always fun. That's all this stuff is what makes me me.
That's awesome. Jack of all trades kind of sounds like, but focus on the writing for sure. Is that?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't claim to be anything. People can call me whatever they want. I'm not picky about it. Just not late for happy hour.
So let's talk about the Rembis Report. Can you give us kind of an overview, maybe what inspired it, kind of the things that you write about?
Yeah, when I started that, I did the first Rembis report as an email to my friends in 2005, when I was moving to Montana from Florida, because I wanted to keep in touch with people and I didn't know a better way to do it. So I sent out a monthly newsletter and I said, hey, I'm going to Montana and I'm going to keep this up for a couple of years, and just to let you know what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling, and I'd love to hear from you too. And barely anybody wrote back. Some people did, but it was usually just like 2 or 3 sentences. It's like, that was very funny, and oh, I'm so glad for you, or I'm so sad for you, or whatever it was that related to the thing. So I ended up writing 36 reports, one a month for 3 years, and then I stopped because it didn't feel. I felt like I had reached the end of the stuff I wanted to say at that point in time. So I left it alone, and I wrote it from 2005 through 2009. When I did that, when I was done with it, I started working on more screenplays and trying to get into acting. It was very difficult. I moved from Florida. My wife and I both moved from Florida to Montana for 2 years. We moved within Montana during those 2 years, and then to Austin, Texas, and then back to Florida. So it actually felt like we had come full circle, and that's part of the reason I ended the report, is to say that I'm done and I'm going home. And so I'm back in Florida, and I started the film festival. I did all kinds of other things, and I turned that Rembis report, those 36 emails, into a book, which I sell, that nobody buys. It's okay. But it's out there, and it was done. So a couple of years ago, I felt like I had more to say. So I started writing again, and I had made a commitment, a stronger commitment this time, to writing an essay a week for 2 years. So I would be well over 100 essays. And I mean, I really dedicated myself to it. And that's all the stuff that you can see online. If you go all the way back to volume 37, which is where it starts on, you can see I moved it from, I actually had it through something Twitter had at the time. They had a platform, and then they said, oh, we're getting rid of that. It's like, why? It was working so well. People liked me on Twitter. And I was like, and this was after like 5 or 6 months. And so I had to find a new platform. So I was able to put everything onto Beehive. Beehive was very good. I loved the formatting. I loved that I could keep track of, all the stuff that I wrote and who was reading it, and my mailing list. And it grew from there a little bit. I had over 150 people reading my column every week, and but very little feedback. Nobody wants to write back and say what they think. I have a couple of guys who did write back and told me strongly what they thought about my leftist views on politics, and in particular other pundits, like Alex Jones. And so I wrote a lot of stuff, and after saying that I'm going to write one a week for 2 years, this time I stuck to it and said, well, we hit 2 years, folks. Thank you very much. I'm taking a bow, and I'm going to take off until I have something else to say. So I wrote sporadically after that, maybe 5 or 6 essays. And now in the last 2 months, I found a chain of essays within me that I'm putting forward called A Concept of a Plan in Progress. And it's all about the Trump administration. You know how he said when he was in that debate with Kamala Harris, he said, we have a plan. We have a concept of a plan. And it's like, okay, so what's the concept of the plan? I don't know yet. And so we went with that. I went with that. And I'm describing this presidency in particular, Trump 2.0, as a train wreck. And I don't know if you've read any of those last three essays, but the fourth one that's coming up this week will focus on illegal drugs in the United States and all of these bombardments of boats in the Pacific and Caribbean. And if I keep going on that tangent, we'll talk for an hour about that alone. So I don't want to do that. But by the time this airs, people can go back and read all these things. And I hope you do. Please read, people.
Please read them, especially Albatross, which is what we're going to be talking mostly about today. If you're all right with kind of segueing into that, and
absolutely
could give us kind of an overview of what that series was about.
Yeah. In Albatross, I started it not knowing I was going to write several things. You know, that's how I write. It's I start the essay with an idea, and I think, okay, it's going to be one idea this week that I'm going to be one and done. But by the time I finished that essay, I was, oh no, there's way more than I can say in the 3,000 to 5,000 words that I write this week. And that's just one side tangent here. People have complained to me. They said, your essays are too long. I'm like, well, what do you want? A blurb? I'm not writing
these days. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people's attention spans are short. So I don't even know if everybody reads the whole thing. But when I was thinking about Albatross, my thinking habits is what prompted me. I think constantly, and I try to engross myself in whatever task I'm dealing with and focus on thinking about only that. Like if I'm writing or working, watching a TV show, reading something, listening to a song, I try to be in that moment so I can have a richer experience with whatever I'm actually doing. But your mind wanders and you can't stop that. And I suppose that when you focus, you can steer it in a direction you want it to go to answer a question, but I don't know about everybody else. I just know about me. And like I say, there's lots of tangents and there's questions that come up no matter what I'm doing. And I wanted to explore that question most of the time. So thoughts that come to me are usually born of whatever task is at hand. Memories always arise and they get replayed over and over and analyzed, and not at will. I don't try to conjure anything, not really, not without purpose. I get memories that hit me all the time, you know, just out of nowhere. And what's really weird is that strangely, it's mostly about streets I've been on. I can't help thinking about an interaction or what I saw at an intersection. And I'm talking about 30, 40 years ago. I remember a girl crossing the street 30, 40 years ago, and I still think about that. You know, I can recall roads and neighborhoods from my childhood, what the cars looked like, who was standing in their driveways when I delivered newspapers, and I can still see the whole street, the houses in my mind's eye. I don't usually worry, but I do wonder what's going to happen in the future. And I mean, far in the future, when we won't be here to see it. And honestly, I feel kind of cheated that I'm only here for this blip of time in history. I don't get to see what's ahead. None of us do, but I have to step back and say, that's too bad. This life is all I get, and I get to see what I get to see until my ending comes. And it doesn't matter whether or not it feels fair. So I started with the idea of what is a thought, because it's basically where I start with albatross, thinking about what a bird like an albatross thinks like on long flights and what a thought really is. While we know that thoughts exist, they're not something that we can quantify. We can't find them. We can't detain them. We can't catalog somebody else's thoughts or really know what they are unless they tell us, and they might be lying about that. So while we know thoughts exist, we can't prove how they exist, what they are exactly, or where they go once we're done thinking about something. So I just wanted to explore the idea of thoughts, and it made me think about dreams, and the dreams made me think about parallel universes and timelines and things like that. And I just explored that, and it turned out that essay turned into a 6-part, 6-week series that I wrote it, I'm done with it. And I hope people enjoy it. I've had a few people write to me and tell me that they did like it. Will they comment in public? No, they'll write to me personally, but they won't comment in public. And I don't get that. I want the public comments. I love that if they would just discuss amongst yourselves, good little children,
Yeah. I get that a lot too. Like, I mean, I'm so grateful that people listen, but they're like, I listened to your show. And I'm like, but did you do that? Because, like, the more people interact with like content that you put online, the more people will see it and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Did they share it with anyone? That's the question. Did you tell anybody you heard me?
Real quick, I'm curious. So it sounds like you do have, like, when you remember things, like you have a visual in your head, like you can see
I do.
things.
Yeah.
Do you have an internal monologue as well?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, all the time. I am the most. I think I should have an honorary PhD in sarcasm, because when anybody's talking to me, I'm just. I mean, I hold my tongue, but man, my mind is saying, "Oh my God, what." There's so many different ways I could answer this, especially strangers, who I'll never see again. And sometimes that inner dialogue comes out, and I say, well, that's what you get for smoking.
Cool. Thank you for humoring me there for a second.
I try.
So yeah, you were talking about albatross, and you were thinking about, you wanted to focus on like thoughts and
Yeah, it was, and I came to the realization that perhaps an albatross, or any bird, any animal, is also thinking. And we have, if I or you have a thought, we can't contain that thought. We can express a thought. We can expand on a thought, but we can't grab it and hold it and see it and touch it and figure it out scientifically. Well, we know that animals eat and procreate and everything else, and they must think about where they're going or what they're doing and how they're going to survive. So what's a bird thinking? He's on a long flight. And when we're dreaming, sometimes we dream of flying. And I thought to myself, what if it's possible to see into the thought pattern of an albatross on a long flight? And maybe that's what's happening, is that we're seeing into the mind of a bird taking flight, and we're just coasting along on this journey with them. In the same time, when that bird dreams, maybe they're thinking of being at work and digging a ditch, or driving a car, and they wonder, what the hell is this? You know, I can't explain it, but it was weird. I'm not going to be able to tell any of my other albatross friends about this because they'll think I'm nuts. So I thought maybe this is quantum entanglement coming to fruition. Maybe this is a way to explain it, that our dreams reach into in our thoughts, reach into other beings that are thinking something. You know, I can think about flying, or suddenly get the idea that I'm flying, a sensation, and maybe at the same time, whoever's thought I've grabbed has the same idea of me watching CSI Miami on TV and saying, oh, wait, don't change the channel. I want to know what's going to happen next. You know, if it can conceive that. So I feel like maybe I should go back to my notes here and explain quantum entanglement to some degree. Sound good?
That'd be great.
Okay. The thing is, explaining quantum entanglement is tough. I do suggest everybody go look at Wikipedia and try and wrap their minds around it themselves. But I'm going to explain it as simply as I can, because I'm no expert, you know, and I'm not a physicist. I have studied physics. I enjoy physics. But let's start with a battery, because we're all familiar with batteries, but we don't think about how they work. We just take a battery, we put it into something, and hey, it works. Oh, it doesn't work. Well, it's a dead battery. Obviously, get a new one or charge the battery. There's, you know, a mysterious magical element involved in using a battery to turn on your phone, and your phone doesn't turn on without it, because a battery uses an electrochemical reaction to produce energy. Nobody thinks about it, but that's what's happening. Every battery splits atoms, and when these atoms split, energy is released, and it's what powers whatever that battery connects to. So if you have a big enough battery, you can blow up the world. Like, you know, that's basically what an atom bomb is, in my mind, is a battery waiting to go off, you know, because you're splitting atoms. But on a tiny, tiny, tiny scale, we're splitting atoms with our batteries and our phones and our little toys and other devices. And it's what powers whatever that battery's connected to. Now, forget about the battery for a second, but think about those atoms that were split. The physicists have ways to split atoms, and they've been doing this in laboratories for years. And when splitting an atom, depending on what it is an atom of, you know, because there's many different elements, and they all have particles, you get photons, electrons, molecules, quarks, and each of these are made of particles. Particles are what make up everything at the quantum level, the baseline for everything. And it's so small, we can't see it without special equipment. You just have to trust that they're there, because the physicists who were tasked with finding these things, or wanted to, did it. And they told us they're there, so just accept that. Now, without particles, we have nothing except dark matter, and that's a whole other thing. But for right now, stick with particles. When you create and split atoms and have these particles, you get a positive charge and a negative charge. And when you isolate them, you can see which way they spin relative to the observer. You may call it clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. Physicists have experimented with sending the particles either through fiber optic cable or through the air, like a radio wave. across rooms and miles away, and they find that particles of the atoms they split will behave exactly the opposite of the other. One will spin right while the other spins left. So these are said to be entangled, even if they're far, far away from each other, either across the room or miles away on an island or out in outer space. They've done these tests. And to find the particles of the atoms they split will behave exactly the opposite of the other. One will spin right while the other spins left. So they're entangled. They're mirror images, so to speak. So while they're miles apart and appear to behave independently, when you look at one, you can know that when you see an entangled particle spinning clockwise, the other one it's entangled with is always spinning counterclockwise. And Einstein called this spooky action at a distance before they coined the term quantum entanglement. Since we know it exists and it's possible, my question, what is a thought, also asks, can it be shared in a quantum state? Since we can't touch a thought, we can only think about a thought. we can't say, I got a thought, and throw it on a screen, and we can't take a picture of it. We can't prove it other than saying, I got an idea. That's your proof. You had a thought. Good for you. That's a bad idea. Don't do it. But please stop thinking that, whatever it is. So my question, what is a thought, also asks, can it be shared? Can your thoughts entangle with other thoughts? You know, like you said, you have an inner dialogue. If you're walking down the street, maybe that inner dialogue is somebody else who would think the same thing, and they're seeing through your eyes, and you're like, where'd that stupid idea come from? You know, that person should not be driving, and the others, you know, you're thinking these things, and did somebody else see that through your eyes? I don't know. If your thoughts can entangle with other thoughts, how? Spooky action at a distance. That's tough to explain. Can two people have the exact same idea at exactly the same time, miles apart from each other, without even knowing each other? In our dreams, do we find ourselves flying like birds because momentarily our thoughts are entangled with that of a bird? And can that bird think about you having coffee and watching TV and wonder what it's seeing, you know? So those are just questions that basically, you know, my reports come up with more questions than answers. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. So this, oh, go ahead.
And that's what I wanted to say is, I like starting a dialogue. I just want more people to talk with me. You know, I got the questions. What do you think?
So this was not in our original questions, but as you were talking, my brain just kind of started going off. Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
I do and I don't. This is a weird one. This is a very weird one. Because when I was little, my mom swore that we had ghosts in our attic. Mm-hmm. And she said she saw a pirate one day. I was like, a pirate? Oh, yeah, that's bizarre. That's a bizarre thing right there. You saw a pirate in the attic, and she chased him up the stairs and he disappeared. My mom swore to that. It's like, because not everybody sees a pirate, you know, or somebody they think is a pirate running up their stairs. And this is in Detroit, Michigan. We had no pirates that I knew of in Detroit, Michigan. No. And then once I used to sleep in the attic, you know, when I got to be, it's a 2-bedroom house and there were 5 kids. So I was the oldest. So I finally got to go, you know, to my own room, which was the attic. It wasn't, you know, real fancy or anything, but at least I didn't have to be with my brothers and sisters. So that was the big bonus. So we put the bed in the attic for me, and I had my own room when I was 14 or something. And I swear I saw I saw a black shadow move across the room, and it blocked out everything. And I don't know if I was hallucinating or if I saw a ghost. I don't know. But I have a theory on ghosts that perhaps if we have the possibility of seeing other dimensions, that's what we're seeing. I want to explain it like deja vu. I have an idea that, you know how you've heard all these TV shows and things where they say, oh, we've got parallel timelines. Something's happening here, something's happening there. And it's the exact same thing, except for a little tiny bit, a little blip. And my theory on deja vu is that first you have to accept that these alternate timelines do exist. There are parallel universes. I don't know how many. I don't know how to reach them. I don't know why sometimes we see into them, but have you had deja vu?
Oh, constantly. Yeah.
Constantly. Okay. Yeah, everybody's got a little bit of it. It doesn't happen to everybody all the time. You're constant. What do you mean constant?
Oh, I don't know about literally constant, but like I get it maybe like once a week or something like that.
Okay,
like,
okay.
Just doing
That's
something
good.
kind of innocuous. Or like sometimes like at work if I'm like doing a task and somebody says something, I'm like it just like there's that feeling of familiarity. Like,
Right, right.
yeah.
Like it's like I picking my keys up off the table, and it's like I feel like I just picked my keys up off the table, but I'm doing it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Okay, here's my theory. Think of infinite mirrors. You got two mirrors, one on each side of the room, right? And you look that way, and you see Elizabeth. Keeps going that way. Elizabeth. Keeps going, right? Well, imagine that those are all of your parallel universes. Okay? And they all follow the same rules of time and place, except a little bit. When the parallel universe, if you stack them up like that, spread them out, you got one to your right, one to your left, or whatever you want to call it. When something's just a fraction of a moment ahead or behind in that parallel universe, maybe it's possible to see it or to feel it. And that's what deja vu could be, is that window to the next universe, to say, oh, I just put that there. Where is it? Oh, it's over here. And then you picture yourself picking it up and putting it over there. It's, okay, I just made myself have deja vu. I don't know how to explain it, but there it is. And that's the best way I can explain it. Now, if you take those parallel universes, where was I going with this?
We were talking about ghosts, but keep going.
Ghosts. Yeah, right. Okay. Say like you've got these parallel universes. Well, you can't control a universe. You just can't. Not unless, I don't know, maybe there's magicians that do real magic. But let's just say that a ghost is somebody who slips out of their universe into yours for a second. Like my mom saw a pirate. I was watching my wife likes to watch these shows about houses and stuff on HGTV. And we watched that one with Retta where she's doing the spooky houses. Did you watch that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, Retta, the comedian, she's going on the tour looking for America's spookiest house. And there was some people who said they were in the house and, you know, they see a ghost here, they see a ghost there. There was one very specific example where they said, okay, this house has been here for 200 years. And they said, we saw a Civil War soldier walk in the room, go from that door to that door and out. It's like, okay, some crazy cosplayers messing with them. That's the most likely thing. How that guy got in the house, don't know. But the other thing is, well, was that a parallel universe? Was that some time slip where it's not a ghost, it's a real person who just blipped in to your universe and blipped out? And in the Twilight Zone, this is one of the things that Rod Serling explored over and over. You know, if you, I'm very proud to say I've watched every Twilight Zone branded episode there ever was. And I write about that in the Rembis report. I've got 4 or 5 different reports dedicated to the Twilight Zone. And I've got my favorites and stuff like that. But along the way, he really was into the parallel universes, the time slips, the stuff like that. Maybe that's why I think about it so much, because it's quite entertaining and it's fun to think about, you know. So that's where I am with it. And I wonder, could that be a scientific explanation for ghosts? If we could prove that the parallel universes exist, as some people really do, maybe maybe there is a way to see into them, you know. They explored that on Fringe. They've done it on lots of TV shows. There's a lot of fiction out there that's based on this subject, and it makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, sorry, my cats are teasing each other. Yeah, I feel pretty similar. When I was really young, I am confident that I saw a ghost. Like I
Yeah.
was in a wedding with this girl, and then a few weeks later I found out that she died in a car crash. And then again, weeks later, I was at somebody's house and I was kind of like, it was nighttime and I was walking and I saw her like figure and she was like staring and it was wild. And yeah, I didn't really like think about it for a really long time, but as we were talking, it just kind of came to mind. Um, and I, yeah, I don't necessarily like not believe in ghosts, but I don't know, that experience and then just the amount of people that have, you know, seen things
Right.
and I'm not going to pretend like I know how the universe works. Like
You
I can't
can't.
do math. I don't know. So I just try to be open to it. And do you ever listen to Last Podcast on the Left?
No, I don't know that
It's
one.
it's a lot of like true crime, definitely through a humor lens, but one of the hosts has this theory that the reason why people aren't seeing as many ghosts these days is because of Wi-Fi, which again, I'm not going to pretend like I know how
Well, that's
Wi-Fi works,
scientific.
but
Wow.
yeah,
But
something about like the frequencies messing with, yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
so you and I share the same feeling. You do and you don't, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like there's a lot of proof, but there's also not a lot of proof.
Yeah.
I've got 2 other ghost stories of my own.
Mhm.
One was pretty solid, and and the other one happened recently, which I really can't explain. Well, I can't explain either one, but the first one was we have a section of town here in Tampa Bay called Ybor City. It's got some old buildings and stuff like that, and people said that this place is haunted, that place is haunted. And I used to sell advertising. I go in this bar restaurant. I'm trying to sell them some advertising. I don't know if I did or not, but I talked to the lady who owns that place, and she said, yeah, we've got ghosts in this one too. There's definitely something going on, you know. And a couple days, weeks later, I'm in that same place having a lunch at the bar, having a sandwich and a Coke or whatever. And right next to me appears this pretty blonde girl. Like, oh, hello, how's it going? Something like that. And she vanished right in front of me. I mean, she was there, and I mean, a blink of an eye, not even, it was, where'd she go? I'm looking around, and I was freaked out. I was just, I couldn't eat. I took my sandwich to go. I did. I was like, I couldn't figure it out. And then I was afraid to go to that place again, but I wanted to sell her an ad, which I don't think I did actually. But anyway, I went and I talked to the lady, and she goes, did you, and I told her, this is a weird place. She goes, what did you see? And she could tell I saw something. I told her about it, and she's like, yeah, I think I've seen her too. It's like, oh, that's creepy. I don't like that. Okay, now here's the other ghost. Now this happened. Maybe I'm just not paying attention to my surroundings so well. But I'm in front of my house about 2 months ago, mowing the lawn. So I'm mowing the lawn, and I see this guy walking down the street, checking his phone or something, and he's walking in the middle of the street, and he's just looked out of place. He's got he looked like he's from the 1980s or something, because he just had that look. He had a mullet, you know, true Florida man, and walking slow. Didn't look at me at all. And I was like, and you know, I recognize everybody who walks down the street in our neighborhood because I've been here 15 years, and I've never seen this guy. So I'm mowing the lawn, and I'm watching him as he gets to the end of the block, and he vanishes. And I said, wait a minute, where did he go? I mean, did he just walk behind a pole or something? He was in the middle of the street. No car went by, and I stopped the mower and I ran down there. He was gone, just instantly. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. It was creepy, man. I did not feel good about that. So, no, not cool.
Well, let's kind of shift gears here. So one thing that you talk a lot about in Albatross is your dreams.
Yes.
I'm super fascinated by dreams. Most of my dreams are stress dreams, which I don't appreciate, but I would love to open the floor for you to kind of talk about what that experience is like for you.
Okay, well, at the time I wrote Albatross, I had 4 distinct dreamlands, and now I think I still have all 4, but I rarely go to the one with the big 5-story house, and I spend less time at the mall in Mall City, because now I'm spending more time on the other side of town in this convention center hotel kind of place. It's like not the main downtown area, but more of, I want to call it the municipal area, where it's not like it's more
Like courthouse kind of.
yeah, courthouse, municipal buildings. It's not like a shopping area the way the downtown area is, which is up on a hill. And I can picture this really good too. That's how real it is for me, because I can picture the whole downtown area. I can picture the mall. I can picture the municipal area. And the municipal area just doesn't have all the shopping and stuff. But so I've been hanging out over there in a convention center hotel kind of place. And I saw Mrs. Song there recently, and I interacted with her, and somebody who seemed to be related to her, a younger woman. And it seemed like we were in this hotel convention center kind of thing. And I've been to lots of hotels and convention centers. I used to sell advertising at conventions, in convention centers. So I don't know if that makes your mind create dreams or not. You know, again, what's a thought? Don't know. Where's it come from? How did it get there? Where's it going? I don't know. And you can't remember everything when you wake up. So I did see Mrs. Song and a younger Asian woman, and I haven't had any dreams of working at the bar or restaurant in the mountains for quite a while. I don't know why that's died down. So I don't know what happened there. And I'm spending most of my dreams in the dreamland where I live in the rundown house by the railroad tracks and the yard, I call it, which seems to be the place I work, which is got this oil soaked dirt lot that's got trucks on it. And I work in a trailer in there. It's almost always night when I'm there. But I've been there in the daytime, and the town's not bad. It's a quiet town. I don't know of any downtown area. It's just like I can walk down the street and get to a nice, quiet, convenience store. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Salt Lake City because I lived there in the 1990s. And then there's the country roads, which, like I said, I think a lot about streets for some reason in waking life too. And that seems to tie all these places together, but I don't know how. I can't really draw a map of how they tie together. And
But they're
recently,
reoccurring.
oh yeah, not the same events. Same events don't reoccur. It's I see the same people. I saw Craig last night. Craig's a guy who I know from my dreams. I only know one Craig in real life, and I haven't seen him for almost a year. But that's not him. I saw Craig, and I was hanging out with him, and I don't know what we were doing, but saw him last night. I don't know. He's just a guy, some dude who I know in my dream. And this was the dirt lot dreamland. Yeah, he was there. I don't know what we were doing. We were in a house or something.
Yeah.
I just don't know what was happening. I can't remember. I just remember waking up thinking of, and I could see him in my mind. If I met any of these people in real life, I would totally freak out. I really would, because they don't exist here. So this is the question. Did my mind create these dreamlands, or are they real places that I have another existence that I can only get to via these dreams? If I die here in this real life that I feel like I have, do those other ones go on? And do I feel another one more strongly?
Yeah.
Am I dreaming this from over there?
So would you be willing to kind of dive into the saga sort of Mrs. Song? Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
particular like storyline, it
crazy-
feels like it's
that's-
building to something.
I know, and I don't know what that could be, but there was this kid who would give me these packages, these paper packages tied with string, felt like a pack of t-shirts, yay big, And the next thing I know, I'm giving these to Mrs. Song, who runs this she ran a little shop up in the mall, and I worked at the mall. I don't think I work at that mall anymore. But I would go up in that mall and deliver these little packages to Mrs. Song, whether she was there or not. And she ran a store in the bazaar section of the mall where it was like, a lot of people put their stuff like right in front of the stores. So it felt like you were in a bazaar, in a city or something, and you walk in and out. And it was the busiest part of the mall. It had some food vendors, and aside from the regular uh, food court. You remember, this is a real mall in my dreams, in my head, and I know the whole thing inside out, which is really bizarre because I've never been there in real life. Um, so and I don't know why I'm delivering these packages to Mrs. Song, and I wasn't sure where I was getting them until I met this kid who was in a little sports car, and he drive up to me and deliver them to me, and I take them to Mrs. Song. And then one day, it was because her store was like knickknacks, just decorations for the house, like wind chimes and stuff like that, beads, and just a nice little shop. And one day I'm going up there, and the store is closed. It's all cleaned out. She's gone, and I have nowhere to take this package to. And I asked the guy down at the sandwich shop, "Where's Mrs. Song?" He didn't even know who she was. I was like, "How do you not know who?" Okay, I had no idea you didn't know your neighbors, but she's 3 spaces down there. And he goes, "Yeah, they closed up a while ago." A while ago? How did I not notice this? That's weird. So I take the package back. I wait for the kid. The kid wants to give me another package. And he says, and I said, "I can't deliver this because Song is gone." And he's like, "Well, it's not my problem. It's your problem. You got to deliver these packages." I'm like, "Well, to who? There's nowhere to take these packages to. I don't know what to do with them." And so I start loading them in a truck in my car. He's delivering them. It's just like, these things are piling up. I never opened them up. Don't know what's in there. I think I should have opened them up, but somehow I did not do that. And he keeps delivering the packages to me. And I wrote it in there. It was, I couldn't break the chain. They said, "Don't break the chain." I was like, I don't know what that means. All I know is the Fleetwood Mac song, "The Chain," never break the chain. So I'm like, I don't know what that means about breaking the chain. And I tried not to. I tried to get it delivered to Mrs. Song, but then I did my own investigation. I couldn't find her. The kid's delivering the packages to me, and then it turns out, from what I'm remembering, is that suddenly this kid's in trouble because Mrs. Song's not getting the packages, or they're not going all the way through, because apparently she was a way station to somewhere else. And it's like, well, where is that? Just tell us that and we can get them over there. No, he broke the chain. She has to go through her. Doesn't make sense now, does it? That's ridiculous. If we already know where they're supposed to go from Mrs. Song, but we don't know. We just know they didn't get there. Okay, that's a stupid thing to say. So this is the problem with dreams. Can't remember everything. And I ended up, that kid had somebody chasing him down, and I ended up taking him somewhere up to it feels northeast, like a couple of hours away, to like his parents' house or something. I dropped him off, and his car stayed at the mall. And then I don't know if I had the keys to his car or what. Maybe I did. I took all those packages and put them into his car, left it parked in an inconspicuous spot in the mall, over by where the kids skateboard. And they're not supposed to do that. I've gone. I remember I wrote about that. I've gone through this. It's like, okay, just don't skateboard in public areas. You can go over here by the railroad tracks or whatever it is, by the woods, and mess around in that empty part of the parking lot. And they do, ever since we told them not to kill yourself in public. So anyway, then it ended up, somebody was in my house. I had this really nice house, and I haven't been there in a while. So I feel like we abandoned that house where I had my wife from my waking life, Ellen's in the dream. And I also had this idea that these two women in their 20s or so, maybe early 30s, were our daughters. We have no children, so it felt like they lived with us or came there very often, um, ate with us. So it was like a family feel. Um, and it turns out that these guys wanted wanted the packages, which I didn't have because I left them in that kid's trunk. And um, I told them to go ahead, search the house, and somehow um, the bottom part of the house is I could draw it, but that won't help us here because we can't show your listeners. But the bottom part of the house is like a bunker, and they went into this not crawl space, but a room that turned out to be a tunnel to somewhere, and I'm not sure how far away, but up into the hill. And I have this feeling, I can't say that I remember dreaming it, but I have this feeling that I locked them in there and they got out the other way, and that there's there's an escape route built into that house for some reason. And that's where I locked them and they got away, and they never bothered me again. I never saw these guys. But now I've seen Mrs. Song, but I don't remember any packages anymore. So it's all kind of it kind of really built up there, and then it all faded away. I don't know why.
That's so interesting. Have
It's
you
amazing.
always had dreams like this, or is it kind of as you've gotten older that this has started?
I think I've always had very vivid dreams for a long time. I can't remember any of the old ones. I remember once in a while, I remember something I dreamed years before. And I said, oh yeah, that was a dream. But I remember one of my very first dreams, and I told my mom about it, and because I talked about it for like a long time. And maybe it had something to do with me going to Disneyland as a child. When I went to Disney World when I was 7 years old, the year they opened, I was so proud of that. I was like, well, I was proud of it later, but I was like thrilled with it when I was little. And I feel like I had the dream before that. I dreamed that the house around the corner, which was this big apartment building, a couple houses from my grandmother's house, was decorated with like giant statues of the Mickey Mouse characters, Goofy, and there was lights, and they were moving, animatronic kind of thing. And I can still picture that. And it was like so Disney World-ish. And I remember telling my mom, and I knew it was a dream. That was the thing, is I knew it was a dream. I didn't imagine it. I was like, it was the house, it was that apartment building. It was 3-story tall apartment building that used to be there. And it was very vivid. It's just very vivid. I looked at it, I don't remember what happened in the dream other than looking at it and thinking, oh, that would be so cool. And as I walked to school for years past that building, I always thought about the dream, and I could picture all the Mickey Mouse characters up there. And I'm like, it's like, it took years to come to the conclusion or the supposition that, did I see that in a parallel universe? What is it decorated with Disney characters somewhere else? I don't know. It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always had vivid dreams for a long, long time. And I used to have nightmares years ago. I had to stop. I had to sleep in my own bed because I kept punching. So my wife couldn't take that. It was not right. And, that was a mutual decision. Is I can't go punching. Every once in a while, I do wake up punching. And I punched the wall, the headboard, and really hurt my hand. And I had a dream of a monster, which is as bizarre as it sounds. It's very similar to one of the monsters from the new It series, the ghoulish thing with all the teeth, but not the clown. Just really, really. If you look up Dream Stalker in Magic the Gathering, it looks like that.
Gotcha.
Dream Stalker.
Dreams.
And it's weird that it was called Dream Stalker because that's the card. I know I've got one. I play Magic the Gathering.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Do you play it?
No, my brother has built me a couple of decks. Honestly, too many rules for my brain to get wrapped around. I love the artwork.
Me too. That's what got me into it, was the artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. The artwork is fantastic, but I love the game. It's just a lot of fun. Because there is so much to think about.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that stuff happens, and then you got four guys sitting around. Wait a minute, what are we supposed to do? I think this goes first. No, this goes first. No, you're right. That goes first. No, this goes first. Oh, okay. Is that infinite? It's infinite. Oh, he won. How did he win? Let me explain it. And that's what happens.
Yeah, my brother was trying to teach me how to play, and I think I got frustrated because it felt like he was just making up rules on the spot. I would like do something like, I'm pretty sure I can do this, and be like, actually, I beat you because of this. And like, that doesn't sound real.
I know, it's tough for the beginners.
I'm super grateful that, that you reached out. Our conversations and just reading, your Albatross series that like brought up, I too have always had vivid dreams. When I was really little, I was visited by this like almost Glinda from like Wizard of Oz figure, but it wasn't Glinda.
Right.
And she would give me missions, and then at some point, and at some point that kind of faded. My theory is that, as I got older and developed my bipolar and stuff, that my anxiety has sort of made any sort of like, I get how I kind of phrase it in my head is it turned all of my wonder into worry. And so instead of having these like really cool dreams where I'm flying or, visiting these random places or whatever was happening, it's usually high school or like family drama. And the dreams are always different, but it's usually the same things, like the same fights with the same people, the same, I can't open my locker, I don't know where my class is kind of thing. And so I don't know how to do it, but I am trying to kind of get back to allowing my brain to think like creatively in fun ways and not miserable, the world is ending kind of thing. So that's like my personal thing. But yeah, I've really appreciated getting to hear your theories and like the quantum entanglement is like it's opening up my brain to so many different
I just think that's
theories.
the only way to explain any of this. And I want explanation. I'd like to see proof. It'd be great, to say this is correct and this is just a fantasy or an idea that that's a good theory, but this is the truth. That I think that's what we all want. We all want the truth in some way, but I don't know that we're ever going to get it. About what's a dream, what is a thought, is deja vu, what I think it is, or is it something completely different, or is it just a trick of the mind? You know, um, I went through a discussion with two different AIs yesterday, the Google AI and the Microsoft AI, you know, in searching for something. I wanted to remember uh, prior to our talk the TV shows that I used to watch about the not time travel, but time slips or parallel universes. And um, let's see, what were those? I thought I wrote it down here. I could have sworn I wrote it down here. Well, one AI was able to jog my memory while the other one wasn't. It's amazing. It knew the right questions to ask to get me to the TV show. Oh, here it is. I was trying to recall um, uh, which TV show reminded reminded me of Lorena Garcia Gordo, and shows like Fringe and Awake are shows that explore separate timelines. I don't know if you've seen either of those. And as I was trying to recall, I thought I was trying to think of Awake, but then I looked at that and I was like, I'm not even sure if I saw that. Maybe I did in a parallel timeline, but the Microsoft AI asked the right questions and came up with the show that I was looking for that I couldn't recall the name of, was Debris, which was about aliens making alternate timelines for us. And that show I really liked, but that was only one season. Didn't last long. So you would ask me about what I talk about with Lorena Garcia Gordo.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about her?
Yeah.
I do feel that dreams can be a parallel universe, and in the case of to give your listeners some background of who Lorena Garcia Gordo is, I think she was from Portugal, if I remember it right. She may be a fiction, like a creepypasta, but then again, it could be a true story. She woke up one day in our world, while most things around her were familiar, and a lot of things had changed overnight. Her boyfriend that she had was gone, replaced by a guy she broke up with years before. And her house had different towels or curtains. Her job was not exactly her job. She worked in the same place, but now with strangers doing different tasks. And it really messed with her. And she put all this on a what
Was it Reddit or something like that?
Something like Reddit that they don't do anymore. I forgot which platform it was. It wasn't Reddit. It was another platform that was similar to Reddit that isn't even out there anymore. I forgot what it was, but it's in my report. And people speculate she must have jumped timelines. She was looking for help, and her consciousness was not where she expected it to be, but in her world. So the question is, did her consciousness come from that other timeline to ours so strongly that she didn't even realize that she's stuck with this other guy and that she had this other job? And is it true is the big question. Is it true, or is it all a fiction? You know, don't know, because I mean, I did all the research. I can't find a way to reach her. Can't find her. Just don't know. Don't even know if that's a real name or if it's a true story, but it's an intriguing story, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm going to try to remember to put this in at the beginning, but I'm feeling a lot of parallels to our bipolar and mania episode of, we all have this idea of what reality is, but that has been told to us by um, a particular group of people, usually like white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, of this. And then, with like psychiatry, you have, and it's changing now, but these very neurotypical people defining what illness is. And I'm sure there's some people going like, yeah, but you're bipolar, so I'm not gonna listen to anything you say. But if you're listening, then you must enjoy the show. Anyways, uh, the, you know, there in other cultures, people who have like visions or connection to spirits and stuff that is celebrated, that is understood as, maybe not specifically quantum entanglement, but their own words for that essentially. And so I don't think it's that far-fetched to at least be open-minded and contemplate and have these conversations of maybe it's not, maybe some dreams are a compilation of things going on in your life and memories. Maybe they're also, these other universes. And like you said, we don't know what thoughts are. We don't have any proof. So I think it's totally fair to have these open conversations and wonder these things, because why not?
And when I started thinking about this, thinking about what a thought is, I started looking it up, and it's like nobody's talking about this. Nobody's actually saying what's a thought. How do we quantify it? How do we figure it out? And I'm not finding any conversations about it.
Yeah. Anybody
not about
listening,
that.
yeah, who's
There's-
more
so there's
science minded, I hope they figure it out. Like get to it.
So I hope any of your listeners will go and read Albatross if you'll give them the link, and then start some conversation, because on Substack you can leave comments. I'd love to hear what other people have to say about it, because that was the thing. I can't find anybody who's they talk about parallel universes, like you said, they talk about ghosts, they talk about UFOs, they talk about everything, but not what is a thought. Nobody, even scientists don't go near that one. I don't know what a thought is. I got them all the time though. That's what it is. We all have thoughts all the time. We just don't know what they are. We don't know. We do know we know what the thoughts we have are. We don't know you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mike, I think that's a pretty good place to kind of end it. So the Rembis report, where can people, I'll put a link in the show notes to make it easy, but
yeah, you can search Rembis report online. It's on Substack, and if you search Mike Rembis, you'll find me.
Awesome.
Everybody will find me. I'm not hiding. I need the publicity. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, I'm super glad we got to have this conversation. Thank you again for reaching out, and yeah, thank you.
It's been a beautiful show.
That is a wrap for this month's episode. We'll be back again next month with an interview with the first rabbi I've ever met, and only one so far. A very cool person, very excited. Thank you again, Mike, for coming on the show and sharing all of that. If you want to check out Mike's stuff, be sure to do that. I highly recommend it. And if you haven't yet, follow the show, subscribe, follow on social media, yada, 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 and buy merch, please. Okay, see you next month.